Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 167 based on novel. So let's start. Absolute Domain, Time-Space Scribbles number 2891 Technique, Messy Void Kill. Luo Feng roared within, Space Origin Laws. Wielding the two purple sledgehammers, Rock Win Xiong was shocked at the scene. Rock Win Xiong, his teacher, was a world-level, sector lord, who controlled the surrounding 1 billion kilometers area, Sai-Yong. Even though the strong were like the clouds here in Blood River World, the sector lord was still a very terrifying existence. Rock Win Xiong, being under Sai-Yong, had very high perspectives and vision. With just one look, he understood that this mysterious warrior was a genius person with high achievements in space origin laws, able to produce up to 100 images, just a universe level 9, and so powerful. It's simply too. Rock Win Xiong understood that if such a genius were to be discovered by the Undying Shrine, he would definitely be treated as an absolute elite and nurtured. It's a pity that he's the enemy. The more terrifying the enemy, the better it is to eliminate him earlier. Rock Win Xiong stood on the ground with the sledgehammers in his hand, motionless. And Luo Feng, who had unleashed his close combat Messy Void technique, was suspicious. He is after all a domain lord too. Just based on his pure genetic energy and explosive speed, he could very likely survive my attack. Why isn't he moving? While suspicious, Luo Feng began to grow wary within over 100 peculiar blade techniques melded with the spread-out gold domain, causing the space around to follow the blade work. In an instant, there was nothing but flashes of blades, almost like the entire space was a dance floor. It was completely pressuring that Rock Win Xiong. While pressuring him, it shrank more. The blade work condensed on him too. Rock Win Xiong was trapped within. It was almost like he was trapped in a little house, and was being slashed at by large amounts of blade flashes. This technique from Time Scribbles didn't have a name. Messy Void was a name he gave it himself. Ha ha ha, a loud laugh resounded. Rock Win Xiong stood his ground, almost as though he was admiring Luo Feng's performance. Rise. Rock Win Xiong's lips curled into a smile. Simultaneously, assassination weapons rose from all around him. At least 1,000 of them completely covering Rock Win Xiong. Every one of them under the flashes of lightning gleamed like dazzling metals. The arc blade edge was terrifying. What? Luo Feng's expression changed greatly. He had initially wanted to rely on speed to kill him, however how could he compete with the speed of spirit weapons? That was suicide. Go! Rock Win Xiong waved. Immediately the blur of countless weapons covered the skies and shot in all directions. Even though the 100-thread movement was very shocking, making one unable to accurately deduce the person's position, however with countless weapons shooting in all directions, it definitely spelled trouble. Although, using such quantity would diminish the power. However, the enemy was Domain Lord level 2. Any one of those weapons could easily kill a normal universe level 9, dang. Dang. Luo Feng's movement was unpredictable, however the number of weapons shot at him was simply too many. Wielding the six-edged shield, he continuously blocked 10 of them. Even though he managed to deflect them away, they still affected his movement. Ha ha, Rock Win Xiong's laugh continued. The rest of his dancing weapons all curved and simultaneously headed towards Luo Feng. The air trembled and split apart, as up to 1,000 assassination weapons shot at him. Luo Feng's expression grew heavy, his eyes were staring coldly at Rock Win Xiong. A formless consciousness pressure fiercely smashed into Rock Win Xiong's consciousness. Rock Win Xiong felt a pain in his head. The 1,000 assassination weapons controlled by his consciousness were immediately affected. Without the help of his spirit energy, the weapons swiftly slowed down due to the high air resistance and gravity. They still followed their course and shot towards Luo Feng. He however easily dodged them. Weapons capable of twisting and turning, compared to dumb straight-shooting weapons, naturally were much easier to dodge. Luo Feng dodged the weapons. Luo Feng rushed at Rock Win Xiong. Go and die. Luo Feng had already reached him. The blood shadow blade in his hand had already become an incomparably resplendent flash, cutting straight at Rock Win Xiong's chest. Killing a universe level and killing a domain lord were two completely different things. From student level to universe level, the soul was definitely within the consciousness. Hence the control chip could at most control up to a universe level. The highest slaves a slave trader could sell was a universe level. When it came to Domain Lord, however, the soul was in the Qi Jian. This was also named the life core. Like Luo Feng, his Qi Jian and internal core had fused into one. Hence, his core was incredibly sturdy. This also meant that eventually breaking through from this internal core would thus be very hard. To kill a Domain Lord, one had to destroy the life core. However, this life core could be stored in any part of the body. It could be within the head area, consciousness, at the dantian, or even in the arms, chest, etc. anywhere. Hence, to kill a Domain Lord, the first thing was to determine where the life core was located. Due to the consciousness attack earlier, Luo Feng had determined the position already. Dang, a gold light hit Luo Feng's blade. Trouble. Luo Feng's expression changed. He could see the gloomy and mad Rock Wind Xiong. Luo Feng's consciousness was considered Domain Lord Pinnacle, and Rock Wind Xiong too was Domain Lord level. Even though it was weaker than his own, it was still at Domain Lord level. That one attack only managed to shock him temporarily. Consciousness pressure only when the level difference was huge would the effect be obvious. Rock Wind Xiong looked angrily at Luo Feng. Simultaneously around him were 3 gold lights that surrounded his body and then shot at Luo Feng together, so troublesome. A fighter against a spirit reader would naturally be at a disadvantage. But to meet a spirit reader a few levels above me, Luo Feng knew that he couldn't win anymore. No matter how strong his comprehension of the origin laws were, and how powerful his movement was, as long as there was an army of different types of spirit weapons that attacked, there may still be a chance. However, if the opponent was a few levels above, how could he battle? Even the Golden Horned Beast, before training techniques like deities of the world, just using its natural talents, it could at most fight it out with an opponent 3 levels higher, and destroy humans that were 2 levels higher than itself. 3 golden lights as fast as lightning were shot out. Luo Feng's speed, no matter how fast it was, he still couldn't dodge them in time. One beam shot through Luo Feng's throat, piercing right through, and simultaneously the pressure from the shock caused his head to become a mess. Pu Tong. Luo Feng fell. What terrifying consciousness, just who is he? His consciousness is even stronger than mine, and his comprehension of the laws are so high. Rock Wind Xiong walked towards the body. He looked at it and was shocked. What a pity, the universe level 9 actually dared to come assassinate me. Such an attempt is just suicide. Let me see just who it is. With a thought, he ripped apart the mask and lifted the mask to reveal the youth's face. How are you? The youth suddenly opened his eyes, his gaze somewhat apologetic. Rock Wind Xiong's eyes looked down. His chest had already been stabbed by a blade. It had pierced straight into his life core. It was a pity that his life core was but a normal human race's core and was nowhere as perverted as that of a golden horned beast. Actually, countless human races' cores were weak and fragile. How could they possibly compare to the golden horned beast, which was born with an internal world? When the golden horned beast reaches Domain Lord level, its internal world spanned over 100,000 kilometers in area. This was much larger than Earth. And a normal human Domain Lord had just begun to nurture an internal world. To truly expand the world, one had to wait until Sector Lord level. To be able to support such a vast internal world, how could the internal core not be sturdy? A Domain Lord level 6 golden horned beast, even a powerful Domain Lord level 6 would have trouble breaking its core. Just like back then when Hong and Thunder God entered the golden horned beast's body, immolating their souls using the pike and blade to attack its core, yet they couldn't break it. A pinnacle Sector Lord golden horned beast was invincible amongst the Sector Lords. After all, it had 3 powerful natural abilities, along with its inherited memories. However, even with all these heaven-sent benefits, there would be a downside. This is also why many generations of golden horned beasts were all getting stuck at the pinnacle of Sector Lords, unable to break through. Rock Wind Xiong stared wide-eyed. At the same time, his body knelt down as fresh blood was flowing from his chest. You stand right in front of me without the slightest amount of vigilance. The moment I attacked you, you couldn't even react. Luo Feng stood up. His throat was already without a trace of the previous injury. He placed his mask back on, as revealing his identity may affect Nabu and his son Eneku. Through his revealed eyes, he looked at Rock Wind Xiong's body. I don't blame you. I don't think many people would have thought that a universe level, even with his consciousness destroyed completely, would still be alive. Luo Feng looked at the body before him, shaking his head. At first, he didn't want to use special abilities to kill his opponent and wanted to rely only on his universe level 9 abilities to fight it out. However, he didn't expect Rock Wind Xiong to be a spirit reader. His final assassination felt a little dishonorable. It's a pity that I didn't bring the Nanshan armament. If I had the Nanshan armament, my strength would have been multiplied, and I would have a guarantee in killing him. Luo Feng shook his head. My earth body really isn't suited for close combat. Following which Luo Feng swiftly scanned the body and found his target, the space item. That's it. Luo Feng quickly discovered an inlaid decorative plate on his waist, and immediately took it down. This metal plate was the storage item. I hope there's Blood River crystals in here. The more the merrier. Luo Feng immediately used his spirit energy to pierce into it and began searching. At this time, 1 kilometer area around the palace was in a complete mess. The palace was destroyed, the balcony was broken, stairways were reduced to nothing, especially in the most center. There was even Rock Wind Xiong's body, along with the black armored warrior standing there coldly with the plate in his hand. Not bad. Luo Feng revealed a smile. There's 2 crystals. Rock Wind Xiong had previously absorbed 1 crystal. Through various methods, he had acquired 2 more to probably increase his chance of becoming a blood warrior someday. Later he got 1 more, and gave that one to his little brother Rock Wind Zhon, killing and robbing, vicious indeed. A cold voice resounded around the space. Luo Feng turned to look. In mid-air, there stood 2 grey armored silhouettes and their expressions were ugly. Late night, within the purple 3-story pavilion of the Pure Feather family. Pure Feather Dao was sitting cross-legged with his eyelids drooping. However, he was pondering, my information cannot be wrong. 2 special envoys from the Undying Shrine are in Swallow Mound City. However, Rock Wind Xiong, that bastard definitely wouldn't let me meet them. This is troublesome. How can I contact the envoys? Rumble. A mad energy wave fiercely traveled from the northeast, causing Pure Feather Dao to immediately raise his head. His eyes were peering in the northeast direction, his gaze becoming 2 beams of light that shot through the pavilion's closed windows, destroying them in the process, revealing the beautiful scenery outside towards the east. A 1-kilometer-tall thunderball was floating within the city leader's mansion. Lightning flashed about and lightning snakes danced about. This scene caused Pure Feather Dao to be in shock. It wasn't just Pure Feather Dao, everyone in Swallow Mound City was stunned, as there wasn't any construct 1 kilometer tall in the entire city. Hence when the thunderball appeared, especially in the dark night, it was extremely visible. Without any obstruction in the 100 kilometers area, almost everyone could see it. What's going on? For that bastard Rock Wind Xiong to unleash his domain. Did he meet a powerful warrior? Pure Feather Dao was shocked, and fiercely rushed out of the house. Standing in mid-air and looking at the northeast direction, his expression changed constantly. Just who in Swallow Mound could make Rock Wind Xiong go all out like this? There are no other domain-level warriors, and with the presence of the 2 envoys from the Undying Shrine, who would be so deranged as to attack at this time? Don't tell me, he's even battling the envoys? As for the strength of the envoys, even Pure Feather Dao didn't know much about it. To become an envoy of the Undying Shrine, one had to at least be at domain level. As for if they were at domain level early stage, mid-stage, late stage, or at the pinnacle? He wasn't clear. Better be careful, I don't want to be dragged in. Pure Feather Dao carefully flew over, not daring to release any energy or aura, in case the enemy detected him and thought of him as an enemy too. He had to be careful. As Pure Feather Dao didn't have a backing, the moment he died, the Pure Feather family would be finished. Being old and not dying was important, and Pure Feather Dao was very clear on the importance of him being alive. Actually, the battle between Luo Feng and Rock Wind Xiong, at their level, it was usually settled within 1 or 2 seconds with tens of exchanges. During the entire battle, including Luo Feng's final stabbing, the thing that took the longest was his final blade attack, because he needed to wait for Rock Wind Xiong to walk over. The entire battle only took about 10 seconds. The air split, lightning shot in all directions, energies flew madly, golden energy waves glaring. The luxurious pavilions, flower beds, etc. were all immediately destroyed and scattered all over. The entire city leader's mansion was thrown into madness and fear. Pure Feather Dao, however, sneakily approached, as he wanted to be cautious. When he hid behind the collapsed palace and watched from far, Luo Feng had just taken the storage item. Pure Feather Dao's eyes immediately went red. Rock Wind Xiong's countless treasures are within. Since he is the favorite disciple of that world city leader, he definitely had quite a bit when he became city leader. All his treasures are inside. And that black armored man, his energy doesn't seem that strong. Do I kill him? Pure Feather Dao gritted his teeth, staring hard at the distant black armored man. Hesitation. Second guessing, I will kill. Pure Feather Dao's eyes were red. If he didn't make a move now, when would he do it? Just as he was about to rush out, in mid-air two grey silhouettes appeared. The grey armor they wore was the proof of their identity as special envoys of the Undying Shrine. Also, the energy they emitted was terrifying. How powerful. These two are definitely stronger than me. Pure Feather Dao's expression immediately changed. These two are probably both at pinnacle domain level. His ambition and greed from before were immediately reduced to nothing. I'll keep watching and see if there's any chance to get anything. Pure Feather Dao hid his aura and hid. When one reached the domain level, Domain Lord, and one's core becomes that life core, Qi Jian, one could completely hide their aura within. The outside world couldn't detect it at all. Just like how several scanning devices could scan power levels, they could at most accurately detect from student to universe levels. As for Domain Lord and Sector Lord levels, they couldn't fully detect. Unless the opponent releases his aura. How powerful. Pure Feather Dao's eye muscles twitched. Dressed in black armor and boots, along with a helmet and mask, Luo Feng was fully dressed. These two, Luo Feng looked up at the two in grey armors floating in mid-air. These two were obviously enraged, since they willingly released their terrifying auras. At least Domain Lord level 7 or 8, or even a Domain Lord level 9. How troublesome. Yes. Simply just troublesome. Luo Feng had not wished to ever use the Mosha clansman, mostly as a means to train himself. However, the moment his life was in danger, would he stupidly wait for his death? With the Mosha clansman's strength, especially with its ridiculous space law strength unleashed, if he wanted to flee, these two had no way to stop him. Two sirs, must you make a move? Luo Feng looked at the two in mid-air. Ha ha, you've killed my junior. Are you implying I should simply let you go? The handsome middle-aged man roared angrily in the night. The auras of the two special envoys from the Undying Shrine were terrifying. I didn't expect this. The other man communicated mentally. Brother my apologies, I didn't expect this to happen to Old Mo. It's not your fault, I was careless. The handsome man was bitter. During these 2 or 3 days these two had been entertained extremely well by Rock Wind Xiong. Especially tonight, because he had invited the legendary mermaid from the Demon Ocean to sing for them and entertain them. This mermaid belonged to the highest of women in Blood River continent. They could remove their tail and take on human form. The moment they touched water they could regain their tail again. All of them could sing extremely well. It was the most absolute pleasure. However, these mermaids could only be found in the Demon Ocean. Demon Ocean belonged to a terrifying region of Blood River continent. To actually catch a mermaid alive was incredibly hard. Hence, one single mermaid in the continent alone would result in many powerful figures fighting and chasing after her. They were envoys of the Undying Shrine. Normally they wouldn't have much free time in their hands. Yet, this time they actually managed to see a mermaid. Naturally they didn't mind getting comfortable. When these two were extremely comfortable, they suddenly felt a large energy exploding in the distance. At that time, they were simply too lazy to move, because they believed that within this area there wasn't anyone who would dare mess with the world city leader Sai Yong's disciple Rock Wind Xiong. They believed that Rock Wind Xiong could settle it by himself. Later they felt that the energies were too strong and overpowering. Due to the rumbles and explosions, the two of them left their beds unhappily to take a look. By the time they reached their destination, Rock Wind Xiong was already dead. Within the city leader's mansion, the atmosphere immediately changed. You are not my targets. I'm too lazy to kill, so don't force me. Luo Feng looked at the two in mid-air, and immediately rushed into the sky, trying to flee. In mid-air, the handsome man roared. He simultaneously communicated to the envoy beside, "Old Mo, he killed my junior. So leave this matter to me. Help me by keeping any eye on him. I'm worried that this punk will suddenly find a way to flee. Please don't let him escape, brother Yu, leave it to me." "Relax." Envoy Mo nodded. Having been treated well and entertained by Rock Wind Xiong the past few days, now that he's dead, Envoy Mo definitely wanted to avenge him as well. Luo Feng rose into the skies, simultaneously the handsome man's killing intent rushed over. Luo Feng frowned. "You are really forcing me. Since you wish to die, then I'll send you to hell." The Moshe clansman within his internal world had already fully resembled Luo Feng. He was also wielding a blood shadow blade and dressed in black armor, shield. These were not considered high-level weapons at all in the virtual universe company, they were all custom-made for his stay here in Blood River World. As they were cheap, he had ordered 10 at the time. Should there be any breakage or faults, he could use another switch. Luo Feng thought. Sure. The Earth body Luo Feng swapped instantly with the Moshe clansman within. The Earth body entered the internal world while the Moshe clansman remained outside. During the switch, Luo Feng was flying swiftly. So, it was impossible to see clearly what had happened. He hid his energy. Chasing him swiftly, Envoy could feel the black armored warrior's aura go from a universe level 9 to suddenly nothing. I'm at a pinnacle domain level. Unless he is world level, he will die without a doubt. A blade appeared suddenly in Envoy Yu's hands. He swiftly caught up with the black armored Luo Feng. He shouted with rage, "You sure got guts. In this side of the world, only me and my brothers kill others. There's never been a time where we've been bullied. Go and die?" Rumble. The Moshe Luo Feng's lips curled into a smile. That incredible feeling within the universe space, it was like a fish in water, an infant in a mother's embrace, it was very comfortable. That feeling of almost being one with space made Luo Feng clearly sense the mad and powerful aura rushing from behind him. I guess he's really domain level 9. The Moshe Luo Feng smiled coldly. Strongest assassins in the universe, along with my study of the 9 universe primal chaos tablet. I'll let you see my power. Moshe Luo Feng closed his eyes. That mad energy rushed straight at him, and just as it was about to reach him, the envoy's eyes were filled with rage and killing intent. His lightning-fast and powerful slash sliced the black warrior before him in half. However, after the slash, his expression changed greatly. Something is not right. There was no blood or any feeling at all from the black armored warrior he had just slashed. He simply dispersed. Where is he? Is he so fast that I can't even feel him? Envoy Yu was extremely terrified. "Brother Yu, behind you." A fearful voice entered into Envoy Yu's mind. Envoy Yu spun around quickly. Behind him the black armored warrior was looking at him. Simultaneously, he saw the flash of a blade. Attacking in close range, with the Moshe clansman's speed, this special envoy had no way to defend at all, no. Envoy Yu's handsome face was struggling. Simultaneously, his domain level 9 genetic energy was fiercely permeating through the grey uniform he wore. That extremely fast and sharp blood shadow blade slashed his body, but that grey uniform slightly shook and dispersed the attack throughout his body, leaving behind a slash mark on the uniform before quickly regenerating. Envoy Yu quickly retreated, beads of perspiration were dripping from his forehead, as he was terrified. Luckily I have this armor from the Undying Shrine. Envoy Yu felt as though he had just escaped death itself as he looked with disbelief and fear at the black armored warrior in the night sky. How can he be that fast? His speed is impossible. I can't even feel it. Yes, the Moshe clansman was indeed fast. If measured against the absolute space level, it had reached the second level's countless changes. According to that level, it was the highest level in 10,000 thread flow. Unleashing it fully could produce 10,000 images in space. And Luo Feng's Earth body could only produce up to several 100, as the 100 thread flow had a special effect, hence he usually only used 100. During battle, more images weren't necessarily better. Like teleportation, once one reaches that level, there wouldn't be any images at all. An absolute space first level arc light, second level countless changes, even though it seemed like many images were formed when unleashed, the true goal was instantaneous explosive acceleration. Right now, the Moshe clansman's instantaneous acceleration had already reached a terrifying level. Another level and it'd be teleportation. Of course, this was the hardest step. One could only imagine, its current acceleration was already that terrifying, much less this Envoy U. Even a Sector Lord warrior, his max speed could maybe exceed that of the Moshe clansman. However, that instantaneous explosion would still pale in comparison. Unless that Sector Lord was close to the level of countless changes. Or he had reached a high level of comprehension in wind or light origin laws. Interesting. Moshe Luophone stood in mid-air looking at the distant Envoy U and was staring at his grey armor. That is a genetic armor? Genetic armor from the universe? Yes. It was genetic armor, to actually be able to disperse my attack throughout his body, and after I slit it, it recovered immediately. And with that bastard pouring genetic energy in, it obviously has raised the armor's defense. Even though Luophone was an outsider, he was naturally clear on the armor's properties. He had the cloud contact vine armor, which was even better than the genetic armor. Only thing was, he didn't dare use it. Otherwise, he would be recognized as an outsider and ganged up on by everybody. Eneko's father was right. Those ancient god ruins really have items from when the Virtual Universe Company battled against the Blood River continent, having left its traces behind. And these should have been studied by the Undyings of Blood River continent, and they found out how to make a genetic armor. Obviously, their production amount is still very, very low. Luophone's mind thought of many things in an instant. As the thoughts crossed his mind, he immediately charged forward and once again reached that fleeing Envoy U's face, too fast. Envoy U communicated to his partner and shouted, "Old Mo, hurry and help me," understood. From the distance, Envoy Mo swiftly flew over. However, Moshe Luophone had already begun his second attack. This time it wasn't casual like the first time. He was truly moving the universe space around the blade, hence on the edge of the blade the space even warped. Moshe Luophone stared coldly at Envoy U, who couldn't defend in time and was relying solely on the genetic armor to defend. Stupid. Luophone thought. Like a kitchen knife slicing open a fish, the blood shadow blade was incredibly sharp this time. It immediately sliced open Envoy U's chest and piercing in. The blood shadow blade released energy within in all directions and Luophone immediately discovered his life core within. The tip of the blade immediately pierced through the life core of the terrified and trying to flee Envoy U. The moment it touched it, the core broke and Envoy U stared wide-eyed. His eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. He couldn't believe that the man before him was actually able to pierce through his armor and kill him, even more so that he'd actually dared to kill a special envoy of the Undying Shrine. This blade of mine has the feeling of slicing space. Moshe Luophone's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. His Earth body relied on the Nanshan armament and was unable to pass the Heavenly Bridge's 6th level. However, if the Moshe clansman was the one doing it, it could easily unleash 10,000 thread flow. Its blade resonated with the universe space. This was enough to produce the Nanshan armament's 5th level space slicer effect. In fact, its power was even stronger. Passing the Heavenly Bridges, 6 and even 7 was fully guaranteed. After all, this was the strongest assassin race in the universe. What? Envoy U, who was flying over preparing to help his friend, changed his expression. How can he cut through that armor with just one blade? Envoy U didn't even hesitate. How can that black armored warrior be that strong? In the distant city, Pure Feather Dao hid himself and his aura. While looking up, his eyes were filled with fear. The envoy he killed was pinnacle domain level. Even with the special envoy armor, he was still killed with just one slash. Pure Feather Dao stared. He's caught up. The black armored warrior has caught up. Right, Envoy Mo was fleeing in the night, and Moshe Luophone, who had just killed Envoy U, placed him in his space ring and simultaneously exploded towards the fleeing man, trying to flee. A voice entered Envoy Mo's ears. "No, you cannot kill me. I'm a special envoy of the Undying Shrine. I'm a special envoy of the Undying Shrine. Envoy Mo shouted back, Undying Shrine envoy? Moshe Luophone was shocked. Yes, I'm a special envoy of the Undying Shrine. You, Envoy Mo stared wide-eyed, because that terrifying slash appeared again. The edge of the blade that warped even space around it, almost as though before this blade, even space could be sliced through, immediately killing Envoy Mo and breaking his life core. Moshe Luophone waved his hand and placed his body in his storage ring, after which he looked down. Pure Feather Dao, who was secretly watching this scene, was discovered by the black armored warrior. He was immediately shocked and terrified. How did he discover me? How? Pure Feather Dao was absolutely terrified. He didn't know, the Moshe clansman had no soul or spirit energy. Hence the way it sensed others' energies and aura was different from flesh and blood life forms. Normal flesh and blood life forms rely on spirit energy to sense things. According to how strong the energies were, they would determine the location. The Moshe, however, was a favored child of space. It could meld with space itself, just like how a spider could feel even the tiniest vibration within its webs. Moshe Luophone was just that. Even though that Pure Feather Dao was a domain lord who was hiding his energy, theoretically speaking no one should be able to detect him. However, Luophone felt the ripples in space that Dao had made when he flew. Hence, he knew that the target had hidden himself after flying fast for a while. I have no ill intent. Pure Feather Dao's face went pale. You should be the elder of the Pure Feather family. Moshe Luophone smiled in mid-air. It's unfortunate, but I require Blood River crystals now. No. Pure Feather Dao's expression changed. He immediately became a flash. His shocking speed even caused the air around to explode, the constructs about him crumbling. Moshe Luophone shook his head, immediately closing 10 kilometers in distance, leaving a trail of images behind and brandishing that blade, flashing once again. Just as Pure Feather Dao was trying to react fearfully, it had already pierced through his body and killed him. Following which he placed Pure Feather Dao's body in his storage ring and with a step, immediately disappeared 1,000 kilometers away. His Earth body's speed in Blood River World's conditions could travel 3,000 kilometers in a second. The Moshe Luophone was more than 10 times faster. The commotion that happened in Swallow Mound City late at night was even noisier than broad daylight. Especially as many people squeezed in the vast walkways outside the city leader's mansion, countless eyes were looking at the mansion where the army stood surrounding it. What happened? Who knows? I even saw a tall and terrifying lightning ball before. I saw it too. Look, the originally tallest city leader palace has been reduced to waste. We can't even see it anymore. A group of excited people in Swallow Mound City were discussing. They didn't even know, within that night, 2 special envoys from the Undying Shrine, Swallow Mound City leader, and the elder of the Pure Feather family, were all dead. It could be said that there weren't any more domain-level warriors in Swallow Mound City. Moshe Luophone tore through the air and pierced through the cloud levels. It's wonderful, this feeling of melding with the universe space. When can my Earth body reach such a level? Luophone was addicted to this. This feeling, where the universe space felt extremely clear, to be able to move through the universe space ripples and feel the living beings all about. Moshe Luophone stopped. At this time he was already close to 1,000,000 kilometers away from Swallow Mound City, with just that bit of work, swap. Even though he couldn't bear to do it, using the Moshe body was after all a very dangerous thing to do, as there were large amounts of sector lords and undyings in this world. The moment he was too high profile and got noticed, everything would be over. It's better to stay low profile and use only my universe level strength. He swapped back to his human body. Luophone suddenly smiled. Time to see what those envoys from the Undying Shrine and even Pure Feather Dao had on them. Just what surprise can they give me? This video will end here. Thank you for watching.